There's very few people that can out Elon in this world, and I'm one of them.
Nikola Motor Company is one of the most polarizing companies in America right now, and it's not hard to see why when you take a closer look. By the end of this episode, you'll be in the top 10% of the public in terms of knowledge of Nikola Motor Company. This should allow you to speak intelligently and rationally, and it'll give you more confidence in your decision in whether you invest in Nikola stock or not. Enjoy. Trevor Milton is a billionaire as of today, but to anyone who knows his story, the path he traveled to this place was not an easy one. He lost his mother to cancer early in life and twice failed to keep doors open at previous startups. He lost his house, car, and other personal assets in the process. Not many would have expected him to be in the position he's in today, the founder and now chairman of one of the most exciting yet controversial companies. And yes, Trevor did change his title from CEO to chairman, but as he explained on Twitter, the CEO will still report to him, who is apparently a close friend of Trevor, and Milton does still own 40% of the company. He also mentioned retiring in 5 to 10 years, a comment that took place before making a sale. For those of you that may be new to the story, this is a small part of why a fairly large number of people are seemingly against Nikola Motor Company right now. There have been a lot of promises backed up with little production, at least to date.
$750 to $1 million on every truck sold in revenue. We're the first OEM in the world. There's another reason why. We're the first OEM in the world, full production, zero emission semi-truck, over 300 miles, hands down anywhere in the world.
Pair this with some controversial statements and interviews, which I'll highlight in this episode, and it's easy to understand why Nikola will have to defend itself at every turn until their income statement validates their business model.
Almost all the Tesla fans that have been studying Nikola have become huge Nikola fans. And, here's the thing, there's a lot of good about what Tesla's done in the past to teach people that electric vehicles can work. But Nikola is the pioneer in heavy duty trucking, and Tesla's just following in our footsteps.
Milton's corporate story started with UPillar, an e-commerce site founded in 2009 that his own LinkedIn bio claims competed with Amazon. The purpose of the site was to allow users to check out only once with items from multiple vendors. In a recent interview with Forbes, Milton said at one point the site was seeing 80 million online visitors each month. You're looking at what remains of the website today. The failure of the site was pinned on capital drying up, and UPillar became unable to keep up with demand. As you can see, the URL is still accessible but shows 500 internal server errors for all links. It's fair to speculate about the reasoning for the capital drying up if the business was simply unable to keep up with demand. Excess demand is typically a good problem to have, and venture capitalists ordinarily would be eager to throw money at a booming e-commerce company. Milton's next startup was dHybrid, a company looking to reduce fuel costs and to clean up emissions by taking diesel engines and modifying them to run on diesel and natural gas. In the same Forbes interview, Trevor said agreements were signed for an amount north of $100 million, but, quote, after entering into a deal with an investor for a large stake in dHybrid, it was later discovered that the investor was taking our intellectual property. As a result, the only option was to sue that investor and close the company. Litigation still continues today and is a reminder of yet another challenging time of my life, one that resulted in losing everything I had just worked to rebuild. End quote. After the failure of dHybrid, Milton got a taste for what the trucking industry needed. He then decided to relaunch dHybrid Systems, which was similar to the previous company but with a greater focus on building natural gas and hydrogen storage systems, otherwise known as CNG or compressed natural gas. In 2014, Worthington Industries acquired a majority interest in the startup dHybrid Systems by buying an 80% stake in the Utah-based company, and Milton was able to retain 20% of the company and to continue in a leadership role. Terms of the purchase were not disclosed, but at the time of acquisition, dHybrid Systems had 28 employees. Nikola Motor Company was the result of this journey. Let's fast forward to today and get into the $23 billion company that has less products built than Tesla has in space, in order to then reverse engineer what we're being sold today to find out if Nikola Motor Company will change the world or become a Netflix documentary Theranos 2.0. Nikola Motor Company was founded in 2015 with the goal of revolutionizing the trucking industry and is currently based in Phoenix, Arizona. The first prototype debut of their semi-truck, the Nikola One, was unveiled 3.5 years ago. In April 2019, the company unveiled the Nikola 2 for the US market and the Nikola Tre for the European market. They will be offered in fuel cell and electric battery versions and join the hydrogen fuel cell Nikola One model. Their plan is to take the current Iveco S-Way platform. Iveco is a manufacturing company Nikola has partnered with, and they will electrify that powertrain, unveiling the first truck in Hanover on September 24th, 2020. It's set to enter low-volume production in Q1 2021 for their battery electric model, with the fuel cell EV not expected to enter low-volume production until Q1 2023. The Nikola Badger, the BEV, or FC EV pickup truck is expected to be unveiled at Nikola World later this year, with reservations opening up June 29th. There will be 3 reservation tiers, and the truck is advertising a 0 to 60 time of 2.9 seconds, 906 horsepower, and up to 600 miles of range. Nikola has a very promising, albeit ambitious, product lineup that is to be rolled out in the years to come. 3 commercial semis, a pickup truck, 3 power sport vehicles, and last, but probably most importantly, are the planned hydrogen fueling stations. Much like the heart of the Tesla story is their battery tech and software, the heart of the Nikola Motor story will be their breakthroughs as a hydrogen production, storage, and transportation company. They are said to be developing fast fueling with an industry consortium to fill up in less than 15 minutes, achieving 500 to 750 miles or 1,200 kilometers of range between fill-ups. They also tout the weight reductions of hydrogen when compared to battery packs, as they should, as weight is crucial to both the EV world and especially the trucking world.
Our hydrogen truck right now is 5,000 pounds less than what you would see on a Tesla truck. So every pound's worth 50 cents on a load. So if you haul pork right now, you're at full max weight, every pound is worth 50 cents on every load you drive. So if you are 5,000 pounds different, you lost $2,500 on that load you did that day. That's $70,000 a month. If I gave you energy for free, you would still lose money.
These fuel cell trucks produce no emissions, only water, and can be produced from a variety of renewable energy sources. And Nikola has promised to use solar power at the hydrogen stations that will be supplemented with grid power. They do have a map with all of their planned H2 stations, and they plan to build this network of 700 hydrogen fuel stations across the US and Canada by 2028, with each facility occupying 10 acres of land. Nikola plans to purchase some of the properties and lease others, with most of them having service bays staffed by Ryder, Nikola's maintenance partner. More on that shortly. Trevor misspoke in a recent interview, saying each station would cost $10,000 to $20,000, but later corrected himself on Twitter, saying he meant $10 to $20 million per station. Hydrogen is dispensed by weight and measured in kilograms, with 1 kilogram containing the energy equivalent of 0.8 gallons of diesel. The fueling stations will be built one at a time along dedicated routes based on purchase orders and customer need. Around a quarter of total semi-truck fleets operate along dedicated routes, typically between a plant and a distribution center. Station locations are being determined by pre-orders, selecting customers with routes along the most trafficked freight corridors. The projected average one-time station capex of $16.6 million is expected to support 630 semi-leases over 21 years. Thus far, they have a demo station at the Nikola HQ in Phoenix that was completed in Q1 2019 with on-site storage of 1,000 kilograms. Their next 8-ton research and development facility, which will also be in Phoenix, is set to begin in Q2 of this year and to be completed by Q4 of 2021. The first pilot station is set to be in Van Nuys, California, beginning in Q4 2020 and is to be completed by mid-2022. Nikola recently signed a purchase order for 85 megawatt electrolyzers that are to support 5 of the world's first 8-ton per day hydrogen fueling stations. Together, they should produce over 40,000 kilograms of hydrogen daily, and the purchase order has a value in excess of $30 million. Currently, light-duty hydrogen fueling stations exist around the world for passenger vehicles, but massive freight trucks need different equipment.
Hydrogen does really good for anything over 300 miles. Battery does everything really good under 300 miles. And they honestly don't really compete with each other, which most people don't know. They think it's like either battery or hydrogen, and then we're just going to hate each other. And it's like, look, our enemy's not each other. It's all the diesel, it's the ICE.
Nikola motor trucks will be able to carry 80 kilograms of hydrogen fuel at once, and the new stations will fill the trucks at 70 megapascals or MPa, which would result in a refueling time of 10 to 15 minutes. This would enable an 8-ton station to service 150 Nikola trucks per day and 200 passenger cars per day, with separate dispenser bays for heavy-duty semis and passenger vehicles. However, there are only a few thousand hydrogen-fueled passenger cars on the road in California, by far the largest market, and Nikola does not seem to have any plans to build a hydrogen passenger vehicle. Thus, fueling 200 passenger cars a day would be optimistic for any state other than California. A big concern around hydrogen fuel is still the cost. Nikola intends to sell trucks with fuel contracts in place, so fuel is less of an unknown for buyers, but all of their plans are aspirations and are theoretical, and this will come down to Nikola Motor Company finding a way to produce hydrogen on site in a cost-effective fashion. Since 2010, the cost of electrolysis-produced hydrogen has fallen by 60% from between $10 to $15 per kg to as low as $4 to $6 per kilogram today. Trevor has confirmed multiple times on Twitter that they have achieved costs of $4 per kilogram and are working to get to sub $3, targeting a cost per kg of $2.47. Each station's useful life is expected to be 21 years. Recent industry reports show that hydrogen prices will continue to fall as demand increases and production and manufacturing techniques improve. Nikola Motors CFO Kim Brady said the company has 3 years' worth of volume based on existing order reservations. Brady added the ability to manage total costs is a powerful concept for fleets, as eliminating some of the variable costs like fuel and maintenance would be a major value add. Nikola will also sell trucks to fleets that want an outright purchase as opposed to the all-in lease model. More in a moment. Those fleets would then pay a lender a monthly payment as well as a monthly fee to Nikola for fuel and maintenance. Before there is wide-scale production, Nikola plans to place trucks on the road with risk-sharing partners that will accumulate data. The reservations have also generated a lot of angst among observers, as thus far it's been free to reserve any of the trucks, and the reservations are not binding and can be canceled at any time. This brings us to their business model, which is another key differentiator. Nikola Motor Company uses a bundled business model approach in commercializing hydrogen power tech. Instead of focusing on a single product, Nikola has created an ecosystem surrounding hydrogen fuel cell electric trucks, including hydrogen fueling stations, maintenance service, and leasing. By leveraging partnerships with players in other areas, it overcomes the resource limitation as a relatively small firm. Their strategy is to bundle a truck, fuel, and maintenance expenses into a single long-term lease. They plan to combine the major cost items of truck ownership and operation into a single monthly payment, which would equate to a lease cost of 95 cents per mile or $950,000 for the life of the lease, which would be 7 years. To give you some context, according to the American Transportation Research Institute, in 2018, the marginal costs were 90 cents per mile when adding the cost for fuel, lease, the maintenance, repairs, and tires. Thus, with Nikola rolling these costs into one lease, they're on track to be somewhat competitive from this standpoint. The only way this model will work is if Nikola can provide ample and inexpensive hydrogen in enough locations so their Class 8 trucks can fuel as needed along the dedicated routes, eventually branching out from there. Norwegian Hydrogen Systems developer NEL will help develop the stations and supply hydrogen production and other equipment. As mentioned previously, Nikola has also partnered with Ryder for maintenance. Dennis Cook, president of Fleet Management Solutions for Ryder, said the company has 800 shops and 6,000 technicians that will be trained on Nikola's equipment. This agreement between the two companies is not exclusive. The business model sounds great on paper. The trends and possibilities of a hydrogen-powered future are promising. Their product renderings look amazing, the website is crispy and feels futuristic. Milton is following in Elon's footsteps and interacting with the public, making himself accessible for interviews and questions on Twitter. He's outspoken and painting a magnificent future of what could be for Nikola Motor Company. However, a business isn't really a business until you analyze the financials. There was actually a reverse merger with VectoIQ, ticker VTIQ, and their shareholders were directly transferred over into the new company NKLA 1-to-1 at the IPO on Thursday, June 4th. Since then, the stock has traded between $35 and $93 per share, settling in the last few days hovering in the $60 range, approaching a $30 billion market cap at times. There are not that many shares available as Milton still owns a lot and blue chip investors have a lot as well. BlackRock owns 15.5% of the shares along with a few other funds that were able to buy shares at a discount before the reverse merger with VectoIQ, the special purpose acquisition company. A SPAC is just a company with no commercial operations that's formed strictly to raise capital through an initial public offering, IPO, for the purpose of acquiring an existing company. Also known as blank check companies, SPACs have been around for decades. In recent years, though, they've gone mainstream, attracting big-name underwriters and investors, raising a record amount of IPO money in 2019. According to a VectoIQ SEC filing in March, Milton sold 7 million private shares in Nikola for $70 million before the merger. According to Nikola's own corporate projections from their investor presentation, they're only projecting $3.2 billion of revenue by 2024. These figures are for North America alone, and they do exclude any potential upside from their 50-50 joint venture with Iveco in Europe. On that $3.2 billion in sales, their projected gross profit is $719 million, which would be a 22% margin. By 2027, they're estimating to have sold 14,000 battery electric trucks at $250,000 per unit and 30,000 fuel cell trucks at $235,000 per unit, which when added together equates to $10.5 billion in revenue by 2027 for their North American operations. The fuel cell revenue per unit is based on truck contribution from the overall lifetime value of a fuel cell bundled lease. If you're wondering why people are paying a $30 billion valuation for a company with expected revenue of $10 billion in 2027, it's a fair question. However, too many people fail to understand that with tech companies, investors are often attempting to get in early with companies focused on industry disruption and are betting on a Tesla 2.0 scenario. If you could go back and buy Tesla shares at $60, even if it was considered overpaying given their revenue figures at the time, we all would do it 10 out of 10 times. I'm not arguing one way or another, I'm just contextualizing what the market is doing here.
There's very little risk in our model now. All the risk we have is in execution. That's really it. The technology's there, the business model's there, the profitability's there, the revenue's there. All this stuff is ready to be executed on. The only thing we have to do is just the execution, and that's it.
There is still a high level of inherent risk with this business model and these projections. As we know with Tesla, a company that has proven to be successful, struggled for years to hit production timelines and experienced production hell on a few occasions. With Nikola attempting to bring a brand new technology and business model to the masses, they will undoubtedly face similar struggles, especially when you consider how reliant they will be on their suppliers working cohesively and on schedule. There are still major unknowns with hydrogen as a fuel source. While it's true that a hydrogen fuel cell in a car produces zero emissions, with the only substances released being water vapor and heat, there are many obstacles to overcome in addition to the cost, such as transportation and storage. Because it has such a low energy density, hydrogen needs to be stored and transported under high pressure, which makes it bulky and impractical, and in turn, it's also highly flammable. It's enticing given that it has the highest energy content of any fuel we use today, and it's not hard on the environment, but overcoming these challenges is no small task. I'll leave you with a few talking points for when Nikola Motor Company is brought up in conversation. Nikola is not a Tesla killer or even truly a direct competitor. Tesla has primarily focused on consumer and passenger vehicles, while Nikola Motor Company has focused on long-range trucking. Yes, there will be overlap with the semis and pickup truck, but the true competition for both has been and will continue to be gas and diesel. We all need to remember this. Yes, Trevor Milton has made some bold statements, but if you look at the man everyone is expecting him to be, Elon Musk 2.0, you can expect some strong opinions, talking a big game, and painting the picture of what the future could and should be. This is not an argument for anyone to like him, just a reminder that in today's world, controversy sells and attention is a huge part of the game. These new wave leaders will be far more accessible, and will carry themselves differently than CEOs of the past before the digital age, for better or for worse. While Nikola Motor Company will undoubtedly run into some production and technology issues, they do inherently take on far less risk by outsourcing most of the core business operations.
I'm going to do a different business model. I'm going to partner with everybody. I'm not going to do anything myself. I'm going to partner with everyone.
So that was a lot. I really want to know your opinion on the Nikola Motor situation. Are they legit? Will they figure it out? Or is Trevor going to paint this picture and then fade into the abyss? So let me know what you guys think. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. I hope that you learned something new. And with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.